Hello everyone, this is David Scott Peters with restaurantexpert.com, and I got to tell you, I'm absolutely thrilled to be bringing you the very first episode of our new video magazine, the Smart Systems Insider version 2.0. Now, the Smart Systems Insider started over 14 years ago as a mailed out newsletter to our members all over the world. It eventually graduated to an online newsletter, and as of today, it is a monthly video magazine not only for our existing members, but future members just like you. Anyone in the restaurant business looking to make more money, get their life back, and have managers know their job. If you want those things, you're in the right place. Make sure you subscribe so you can be notified every month as this video magazine comes out. Now, in this episode, we're going to be meeting with Justin Erickson, one of our elite members, to talk to him about his journey, he and his partner, Wes Hansen, their journey from doing farmers markets to a multi-unit operator, from taking their profitability, which didn't exist, to really exploding it as of today. I'm going to share with you a video software tip on how to set up shelf-to-sheet inventory inside Smart Systems Pro. We're going to be meeting with one of our coaches, Whitney Mosier. She's going to share with you kind of the step-by-step process of as you come on board with the restaurantexpert.com, but more importantly, what your role as the GM or the owner, whoever's going to make sure this process moves forward. Now, be sure to watch all the way to the end, because I'm going to be finishing it off with an interview with a good friend of mine, Darren Dennington, the founder of Service with Style, a restaurant hospitality training organization and secret shopping service. He is going to share with you some step-by-step great tools on providing great customer service to your guests. But stay with me right now, because in about 2 moments, I'm going to teach you the ins and outs of calculating your food cost. Hello, this is David Scott Peters with restaurantexpert.com, and I want to talk to you today about calculating your food costs, one of the most important numbers you need to know in your business. Now, let's be very clear. Calculating food costs is not your purchases divided by your sales. Why? 1 month, you might order a lot of product, not use it, so it's on the shelves. And so when you pay for all that and you look at it, at your sales, your food cost looks really, really high. The next month, because you have so much food on the shelves, you order very little. And so your food cost looks very small. Well, that is not food cost. The only way to know what your food cost is to take inventories. Now, I'm lying to you. If you want to know what your food cost is and you don't take inventories, the way you would do it is take your last 12 months purchases divided by your last 12 months gross sales, and that is your food cost, because the fluctuation in inventory is very small in that long period of time. So you've got to take inventories. Now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, David, inventories? Are you kidding me? They take 4 hours. They're so hard. Do you know why your inventories take 4 hours? It's because your chef grabs a clipboard, right? A printed off spreadsheet. The first item says milk. They walk into the walk-in cooler, it says milk, and they go, milk, 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 milk. You wonder why it takes 4 hours, right? We here at restaurantexpert.com teach a system called shelf-to-sheet inventory. In the order it appears on the shelf, the way you want it counted. You may have a 30-pound case of McCain's potato wedges in your freezer in the first position, counted by the case price, right? Because we know, counted by the case, it's the case price. In a reach-in freezer in the 12th position, 5-pound bags. There were 6 5-pound bags in that case, but now there are 5-pound bags. I'm going to count 4.5. On the line in the drawer, I open up and it's loose by the ounce. And I can count it by the ounce, and next to it is a batch recipe for portion bags, 6 ounces of potato wedges. See, you count the product in the order you see it on the shelf, the way you want it counted. By the way, we no longer have inventories with $30,000 in shredded cheese because somebody counted ounces and it had a case price. You get the picture, right? So let's talk about how we calculate cost of goods sold. Well, it starts with an inventory, your beginning inventory, and that came from when? Last period. Now, that could be a week, a month, a day, a year. It doesn't matter what it is. It's from the last period. Now, I want you to do weekly inventories. Now, I know you're like, oh my gosh, David, I just told you they take like 4 hours. Well, I told you because you don't have a system. See, if you're using Smart Systems Pro, and we help you set up your shelf-to-sheet inventory, I've got $5 million restaurants who take inventory in under an hour every Sunday. How would you like to have that? And know your food cost? Like that every single Sunday night, Monday morning, if you want to put it in that morning. So our beginning inventory, that's what we had on our shelves. Then we have our purchases. Based on accrual accounting, earn OUs, doesn't matter whether we paid for it, as long as we signed for it, it's an expense today. So our beginning inventory plus our purchases gives us total available what we could sell. at the end of the period, I'm hoping a week, but let's say you're getting started, at least let's do a calendar month, we take an ending inventory. Now, an ending inventory happens at the end of the last day of the period. So if it's Sunday, the last day of your week, at the close of business or before you open the next morning. Now look, you could count your product the next morning and you might put it in your system because you got lazy, I don't get it, on Wednesday. What's the date of your inventory? Sunday, right? We're going to count that inventory Monday morning before we ever use any of the product. Nothing moves, so it's no different than when we closed. And it doesn't matter when I put that inventory into the system, it's Sunday's inventory, the last day of the period. That's important to know. So beginning inventory plus purchases gives me total available, minus ending inventory gives me my use. Now, what is use? Use is what leaves the shelves. What's the number one way you hope to use product? Sell it, right? We're in the business to sell. Now we have waste and spoilage. What is waste and spoilage? Well, easy spoilage. Bought too many tomatoes, you have to throw them away? Well, you paid for those. That's cost of goods sold. Oh, have a server, portion cup, 2-ounce portion cup dressing, puts their own salads out, runs out of portion cups, grabs 4-ounce portion cups, the rest of the night pours 4 ounces. That's waste, right? If I'm taking handfuls of cheese on a pizza place, there's waste, right? If I'm a handful of French fries, there's waste. It's more than what the recipe costing card asks for. So it's waste. Oh, by the way, you need to portion out things. Why? Because not only is it for your cost of goods sold, but it ensures your guests get the same experience every single time. And that's how we build business, being consistent, just like the chains. So now, what's the next way I could use product? Theft. I know what you're thinking. I don't want any thieves on my business. David, we're a family business. I know. Look, there is theft in our business. What I want to do is put systems in place and management on the floor to keep honest people honest and get the dishonest guy. Bottom line, it happens. Let's reduce it down to nothing. Last but not least are comps that are not in the POS system. Take, for instance, I said earlier I want you to use gross sales. That's the ring of the register before discounts, not including sales tax. So if I ring up a $10 burger, that's gross sales before the $5 comp. All right, net sales is after that. So $10 burger. So if I comp that burger, chef gets the full $10, full credit for food costs, no problem. What I'm talking about is you as an owner taking tax advantage of your business. You're going to have a barbecue this weekend and you pull up your pickup truck and you grab burgers and buns and you grab hot dogs and you grab ribs and you grab Jack Daniels and a keg of beer and you drive off. And then you come into the restaurant and go to your bar manager and your chef and go, your food costs high, your pork costs high. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You did it. It's a math equation. It's gone. So what I'm going to tell you is I'd take tax advantage of my business too, but you better put it on a waste sheet. So when you start to go yelling at your chef or your bar manager, they go, no, 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 you took $500 in product. I'm good, man. See, as managers, we don't care that you do that, but don't hold us accountable to something we can't control. All we want to know is what are the rules. So keep that in mind. So beginning inventory plus purchases minus ending gives me use. Use divided by gross sales gives me cost of goods sold. So for instance, if I calculate a 30% cost of goods sold, that means for every dollar I bring in, I put out 30 cents in product. So if a dollar comes in, I got 30 cents, a little bit of mayo, a little bit of cheese, a little bit of bread, a little bit of, right? You name it, doesn't matter. For every dollar, it's 30 cents until we build what we're selling. It's 30 cents on every dollar, 30%. Now, if we stop right here, and some of you are thinking, David, I've been doing this. Well, I'm going to guarantee you aren't doing the 4 calculations, put more money in your bank account, unless you're a member of mine, unless you've seen me speak all over the country. And that is where I'm going to guarantee more money in your bank account. The first equation is your average inventory. Beginning inventory plus ending divided by 2. Holy, wow, it's so hard, right? Look, man, nothing I give you is tough. There's no Pythagorean theorem, coefficient of friction. There's nothing, man. It is literally just addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. We just got to understand where the numbers come from, how we use them. So beginning inventory plus ending divided by 2. How do I use that? Remember that use, the product we use? I'm going to take use divided by average inventory to come up with an inventory turn. What is an inventory turn? Well, if I fill my shelves and empty them, refill them, that's a turn, right? Fill them, empty them, refill them, that's a turn. Problem is that's theory. For those of you who've had the displeasure of closing a restaurant, have you ever emptied your shelves 100%? The answer is no. So it's dollar value, right? Because we have products we order 3-4 times a week. We've got products like that pickle bucket of paprika 3 chefs ago wanted to save you money, and everybody goes, do we still need to count this? Because it's like 3 years old, right? So it's the dollar value. So if I fill my shelves with $3,000 in product, use and replace $3,000, that's a turn. So let me ask you a question. How many inventory turns do you think a restaurant should have in a calendar month? 4 to 6. Oh my gosh, that means at any given time, you're gonna have the most 3 to 4 days worth of food on your shelves. Look, we're not gonna run out. We're getting orders all the time. We're not gonna deplete down to where we have almost nothing on the shelves. We have 3 days we could make it at our lowest point. So you're gonna have that, but we're having a better use of our cash, and we'll talk about that in a second. By the way, if you're a breakfast place, it might be 6 to 8. You have no storage. Eggs are bought almost on a daily basis. You get the picture. How about change in inventory? Ending inventory minus beginning inventory. Did my inventory go up and down? And then number 4 is a budget variance, and you can't have a budget variance if you don't have a budget. Make sure you look at our YouTube channel and find how I talk about budgets, how important they are. Really important. So now, using those 4 calculations, I need to ask you a question. Owners, what pays your bills, cash or profits? Cash, right? Profits are for paying taxes. Taxes pay, right? Cash pays our bills. Last time I checked, I can't go to the power company with a case of steaks and go, "Thud, we're even," right? So cash is king. So now sometimes you find yourself that your managers make their numbers, they get paid a bonus, you don't get paid, you can't pay your bills, something's not right. How is it that we could make our numbers and not have money left over? I'm going to show you how with this 4 calculations take to the bank, you may have a manager qualify for a bonus, but I ain't giving him a dime. So here we go. Let's start. Our beginning inventory, we have $3,500 in product. That came from our last inventory. Across our threshold, back door, we received $22,500 in product. Doesn't matter if it's paid for or not. Accrual accounting, it's an expense today. Add those together, we have $26,000 in product we could sell. At the end of the period, in this case, we're going to say it's a calendar month, we take an ending inventory of $6,800. Subtract that from the $26,000, it says that $19,299 product left. We hopefully sold it, but it could have been spoiled, wasted, stolen. You could have taken it, right? Doesn't matter, the equation is blind. This is why we need other systems. That we need key item reports and waste sheets, and we need to look at item by themselves mix reports and ideal versus actual usage. There's so many other systems, but this alone says, hey, I'm using a lot of product. Now, we did $63,000 in gross sales before discounts. Use divided by sales, so this produced a 30.61% food cost in this restaurant. Now, I like to look at my last food cost, see if there's any monkey business, see what my trends are. Not as important, especially when I'm doing weekly inventories. We'll talk about that in closing. Now, if I stop right here and I go to the bottom and I say, oh, my food cost, target food cost is 30%. I'm only 0.61% over. I've wasted $385 on $63,000 in sales. Would you be pissed? Probably not. But look, what I don't want you to do is have a chef or a bar manager or a manager come up to you and say, why are you so pissed off? I'm only off a point. Well, in this restaurant, a point is $630. If I did $100,000 in sales, that'd be $1,000. If I did $200,000 in sales, that's $2,000. I don't care about percents. What I care about is dollars. So when you as an owner feel sick to your stomach, then you know that you've wasted too much product. Now let's look at the numbers. We've got our average inventory, beginning plus ending divided by 2, $5,100, almost $5,200. Take my use of $19,000 divided by the $5,200 and I get 3.72 turns. Is that good? No, I said 4 to 6. That means you probably have product in your freezer. Remember that New Year's you planned on doing frozen lobster tail and you froze them because it was a flop? And you've got this high dollar product sitting on the shelves? So when you see your inventory turns are low, you need to look at your inventory and say, what the hell can I get off the shelves? Do I need to reduce my menu and get some of these items? I bring in only one item for a really slow moving item that we sell. So start to look at how we can deplete those items off your shelves and turn it back into cash that you can pay your bills with. Now we got our change in inventory. Ending inventory minus beginning inventory. In this case, my inventory went up $3,200. Now, my budget, I was off. I lost $385. Why won't I give this manager a bonus? Because the net effect of losing $385 and having my inventory go up $3,200, taking money out of my bank account, putting it, or my back pocket, putting it on the shelf, at risk to be stolen, wasted, spoiled, and I have a negative net effect of $3,600 in my bank account. You wonder why you can't pay yourself. You can't buy that bank of fryers. Why you can't pay your bills. There's your answer. Cash is king. Now look, you need to be doing this minimum monthly, but I'm going to tell you weekly. When you use our software, we've got, again, $5 million restaurants take inventory in under an hour. And by doing 15 minutes of work of daily paperwork, you can calculate your food costs like that, and we want to do it weekly. Why? Because how many times you had somebody say, hey, your food cost is off, and the chef goes, oh, we must have made a mistake on inventory. You'll see next month, my cost of goods sold will drop like a rock. What happens that next month? It's still high. It's too late. You understand? Even if you say, oh, David, we're doing it monthly, and I don't take those excuses. Well, you get your P&L on the 15th of every month, if you're lucky. And now you walk up to the chef and say, why is your food cost high? Number one, we debate the numbers, right? They can't be right. Your bookkeeper's wrong. Well, let's get past that. Let's say I agree with you. Well, it's 15 days in the next period, halfway through the month, and now you want me to fix it? Really, I've made the same dumbass mistake for 45 days in a row, and now you want me to fix it? With weekly inventories, I take a snapshot of what my food cost is that week. If there's a mistake, I've got a week to correct it. Better yet, if it's a big mistake, I've got 3 more weeks. See, when you calculate your food cost on a weekly basis, your managers should never miss budget. I'm here with Justin Erickson, one of the partners at Pork and a Fork Barbecue here in Phoenix, Arizona, and he's been an elite member with us for 5 years. I wanted to invite him in to share a little bit about his journey. But to start off, first of all, I want to thank you so much for being with me today.
Thanks for having me.
Do me a favor, tell our listeners and watchers, if you will, a little bit about your business, how you got into the business.
Well, we started by doing farmers market. My business partner and I, Wes, started doing farmers markets about 10, 12 years ago. And we started that after the market kind of tanked in 2008. We were in the mortgage business, like I just said, and things went south. And we wanted to supplement our income a little bit. So my family has had a farm back in Nebraska. And we decided to bring up some frozen pork, and that's kind of how we got our name, Pork and a Fork, and sell all natural pork at our farmers markets. Well, we started kind of small. My dad actually rented a car and brought up 4 or 5 coolers, and we sold out one weekend. So we started bringing up more and more, and eventually we added to our menu a little bit. We started doing pulled pork sandwiches, hence the name Pork and Fork. And kind of grew from there. We started renting a commercial kitchen where we were able to make more pork and get to more locations. At one point, we had 12 farmers markets we were doing, which was insane.
That sounds insane.
Yeah, I mean, getting up early in the morning, taking all that meat out, and then packing up. It was a task, that's for sure. People started asking us, like, where is your restaurant at? I was like, well, we don't have a restaurant. We just go to farmers markets. So we had the idea that let's start looking around, see if we can find a cheap restaurant, small restaurant, something where we can sign a 1-year lease, we can try it out. I mean, I wasn't in the restaurant business, Wes wasn't in the restaurant business, but we're like, you know what, let's give it a whirl. So we found this little place in Deer Valley, and it had 5 tables. It was probably 1,200 square feet. And it had an old kind of brick oven in it that we modified to a smoker, and we just gave it a whirl. And we opened up not knowing anything about budgets and food costs, prime costs, nothing like that. All we knew was Restaurant 101, which was customer service and food. I mean, we nailed that, and it was just Wes and I, and then we hired 2 people. So went over awesome. I mean, within 6 months, we had a line out the door, and it was 100 degrees outside. We had 5 tables, so people didn't have a place to eat. So they were actually on their outside in their cars at 110 degrees eating food. And one thing led to another. We're like, we gotta expand. Like, we want to continue to grow. And so we eventually took over the space behind us, and we added about 100 seats. So eventually, we started getting really busy. We got started getting well-known, had a great clientele base, and everything was going great. Except at the end of the month, when we look at our bank account, there was no money there. I mean, we were cranking it, and we were doing large volume, what we thought, but we priced everything what we kind of guessed. Like we looked at our competitor, like, they're charging this for a pulled pork sandwich, that for a brisket sandwich. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And we were just spinning our wheels, like, why we're doing all this volume? Why don't we have any money at the end of the month? And we weren't even paying ourselves. So
I think most people can associate. You start your business because you're good at something, you're a technician, you love hospitality, you love the food product, especially barbecue guys. I think the smoke makes you guys crazy. Put this all together, get accolades. I mean, for instance, in your first couple years, you were on TV a bunch of times, right?
Yeah, we were on a lot of local news. We were named Best Phoenix, Best in New Times. We were top of Yelp. Eventually, we got on national television. That was a little bit later, but we were killing. I mean, the food was awesome. Customer service was amazing. We're doing great.
But you weren't making any money.
But we weren't making any money.
Working your ass off, not paying yourselves.
Right.
In fact, if I'm not mistaken, you were working the smoker and your business partner was working the register.
Yeah.
And did this over and over again. So talk a little bit about when you found the restaurantexpert.com, that beginning that of your 5-year journey to where you are today. What was that like? We tell people it takes a lot of work. We tell people it takes a lot of work. We suck. We create work.
Right.
We create work. Was it easy? Did you overnight get success?
It was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. And the funny part of the story is that I didn't even know there were systems out there like Restaurant Experts. I mean, this was over 5 years ago. And we found you guys just by accident. It was from a friend. Actually, we're from Nebraska. And one of our friends now was part of your company, and he introduced us to you guys. I had no idea, what prime cost was, what a food cost should be, how much you should do inventory. I mean, we were doing inventory one time a year, and that was for the accountant. That was just to file taxes.
Yeah.
No idea. But we got introduced to your company, did the seminar, rah. Yeah, I mean, obviously we see the potential, and we see what we need to do. But it's one thing to know it, and it's another thing to do it. And it took us a long time. We took it one step at a time, and we focused on the important keys was getting your food costs and labor. If you do those two things,
so you focused on prime cost. You got your budget put together, but it really didn't happen overnight for you. I mean, you love the idea of systems, but did you and your partner embrace them right away? Did you do the work?
Oh, absolutely not. No, I mean, it took us a while to start doing weekly inventories. I mean, doing the food costing cards. I mean, that was a lot of work, obviously, but we just had to do it. I mean,
So what was the change? What was the big aha? So you decided you're going to take inventories.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the first thing that you said? Okay, oh my gosh, I'm seeing results.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the first things. Doing weekly inventories, so knowing where the food is, knowing what exactly our recipe
costing cards.
Yeah. That kind of I can see something's changing here. Like people, like our employees are seeing them, keeping track of what the food cost was each week, and we do food variance reports where we know how much brisket we bought, and then finally how much we use. Well, we're missing this much in brisket, and you take that times how much it costs. So basically, we're just $2,000 go. Well, we couldn't do that before. Once we started doing these inventories and doing the custom cards, putting the work into it, we started seeing more money in the bank.
Well, so let's say you get the results, but just so we're clear, when you set up shelf-to-sheet inventory, which you take inventory under an hour every week?
Right. Well, now I don't anymore, thank God.
Somebody else did, but under an hour, right?
Right.
But didn't it take 30 man-hours more to set up shelf-to-sheet inventory?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it took a long...
Oh, then you had recipe cost cards, all your sauces and brisket, things you smoke because they have yields and things like this. You had to do recipe cards.
Right.
That took you 40, 60 man-hours, easy, if not longer.
If not longer, right.
But now you put that into place. Did the very first time you had inventory, was it accurate?
No.
Hell no.
Not even close.
How many inventories did it take you till you finally say this is it?
I mean, honestly, it took maybe 6 months. I mean, it took a long time, but it's continuing training, the employees and making sure things get put away correctly. I mean, it took a while, but now, they know they have to go back and redo an inventory, and so they make sure the truck is put away correctly. They make sure the labels are there. They make sure that we do it accurate, because they'll see the budget variance comes back and our food cost is way out of whack. Well, probably the number one reason is because of inaccurate inventory or not counting the units correctly.
So when you started, though, even though the inventories were inaccurate, I want to make sure people understand, it takes, we tell people, 4, sometimes 6 inventories, so you start to get a good number.
Right.
But you start to see results to your bottom line, like in that first month, yes?
Yeah, absolutely.
And every month you dial that in, the better your numbers get.
Right.
And now one of the things that Justin shared was, well, because he has recipe cards and the POS mix all tied together with his inventories, he knows if he's overused brisket. He knows if he's overused any product on his menu. And you can literally highlight and make a change. And that's huge for controls. Now, you mentioned real quickly that my managers are doing the work, and my managers, we meet weekly with a budget variance.
Right.
Talk about, what does a budget variance mean to you, and why is that the big aha? Why does that make a change for your management team?
Well, the budget variance is the report card of the business. If we're making money, if we're not making money. And, before, my managers didn't know, where we need to be at, or we didn't set goals or whatever. It changes the culture of how we manage and then how they look at things once we do the budget variance, because we sit down. I mean, when we first started, we were probably at an 80%, 90% BVR, budget variance report.
So prime cost.
Prime cost, yeah.
So literally for every dollar you had coming in, you were spending 90 cents on people and product. Right. And you had a dime to pay all your other bills.
Right. I mean, we had no clue. We didn't know how much to charge, and the portioning and all these other things. Now that we've changed the culture and doing the systems, we're right at a 55%.
55% prime cost. That's a 40% change to your bottom line.
Right.
Do you make money now?
We make money now.
Oh, hell yeah, 55, right?
Right.
How many locations do you have now?
Well, we have 2 restaurants, brick and mortars. We have a 5,000 square foot catering facility, which services the other locations, and then we also have 2 other places and arenas where where the Suns play and Coyotes, kind of professional teams. So we have a lot of moving parts.
So wait a second. So when you first started 5 years ago, you had 1 location.
One location.
One location that was taking up all of your time, not making any money. In fact, losing money. If you do a 90% prime cost, we can do the math real quick. You're feeding that thing.
Right.
To where today, 5 years later, only 5 years, you have technically 5 locations,
right.
5 businesses that you run, running 55% prime cost. And do you work the smoker?
No.
Do you work a register?
No.
You have managers do all this stuff?
Right.
And you're making money?
Right.
What do you attribute that to? I mean, how does that happen? That's 5 years. That's an incredible journey.
Right. It's been a long, hard journey, too. It wasn't easy. I mean, it was really difficult. But we knew. We saw results from other people belonging to your group, to your elite group. Some of these people, it was life-changing. Like, you have to do this. And it wasn't only just going to your seminar, but listening to them, too. And I'm like, we have to do it. I mean, it took a lot of energy and time and work, but it was worth it for now, because now I can spend time working on my business, focusing on marketing, growing the company, investments, whatever it may be, versus having my head in a smoker. And it's been life-changing, honestly, and I don't even know, if we'd be in business without it, because obviously our prime costs and BVR was way out of control, and I didn't know where it was at. I mean, I had no clue. I had no way to measure it, but now I do every single week. We have a bad week. We sit down with the managers and we look at the weigh sheets. We look at food costs, labor. We look at everything, and let's develop a plan. Let's put a plan together, and then let's have a better week next week. All right, you overspent, but you know what? We have another 2 weeks. Let's make that up, and we make it up a little at a time and get as close as we can. And it just, like I said before, it changed the culture and the thinking of not only myself, but my employees. Makes them think more as a business owner. They look at everything, it costs money. Someone standing around, costs money. Look at that, French fry in a garbage can. Well, that's got to be accounted for. You got to weigh that. Someone pays for that. It's not free. So just change the culture.
So you basically take your managers from being babysitters of the idiots to people who run a business.
Right.
They understand every action they take, how it impacts the business, the bottom line, and puts them in a position for a bonus structure. You couldn't put somebody on a bonus structure at 90% prime cost, but now at 55, you can reward management for doing the work that's necessary.
Well, not only that, is they're excited about it. Like when they see the BVR report before it comes out, they know we have a meeting and they hit their goals, they get excited and they're like, I can't wait till the meeting. But if they don't, then they know they need to come to the meeting and have a plan. Like, look, we didn't hit our labor or whatever it may be, and this is the reason why. And here's what we decide to do. And we have them problem solve for us.
And that's probably the biggest thing I tell people is we don't change your lives with systems per se, making your money. We help change your company culture. And if I listen to everything you're saying, it truly started when you changed your thought process, the management's thought process, changed your company culture to got buy-in. And it started with simple things of creating your inventory so you could have a weekly budget variance. That's probably where the biggest thing is. Having weekly meetings with your managers to go over those variances, and that if there's a problem, you've got 3 weeks to fix the rest of the month, so it's not a mystery when we get there. But the biggest thing is having those systems to allow you to go to the next level, meaning you're working on your business, not in it. In summary, is there anything else you want to leave those watching or listening to us right now, what they should be thinking about? One last piece of advice.
Well, look, I mean, if you don't have systems now, you have to. This is by far the best that we've ever come across because you incorporate everything, not only scheduling, budget variance. I mean, like everything is in one package. It takes a lot of work, but you have to put the work in initially, and then you'll have the payoff down the road. It was life-changing for us. And now we're looking at getting other locations. I mean, we have the structure and the infrastructure to bring on, we want to have 12 of these in the valley, and then go to a different state or whatever it may be. But it makes me feel like a business owner. I knew I'm a good restaurateur. I know I'm an awesome barbecuer. It went from being a hobby basically that cost me a lot of money to actually running a profitable business that I'm proud of.
So basically, everybody, it doesn't matter where you start today. You couldn't start from anywhere more ground zero, if you will, the beginning level as Justin and his partner. But where they are today in 5 years, that is not a long journey. It feels like it because you worked your ass off. You went through management changeover. You had all these things. But the fact of the matter is, in 5 years, what a difference. The key is you've got to start. And if I could just say the one thing that when I listened to his success, he and his partner, it was start. Because when they got started, they didn't start perfect. In fact, they didn't do much. And then you just kept adding. And every step you start to see results to where today, from a 90% prime cost to where this business was a hobby, you feed it, to a 55% prime cost and 5 business ventures under one roof, if you will, one company. That's amazing. Justin, I want to thank you so much, not only for your membership, but sharing with everybody today.
Sure, absolutely.
I want to share with you a Smart Systems Pro software tip to make Smart Systems Pro go faster, be more powerful, and easier to use. Remember I talked about shelf sheet inventory? We all understand that concept. Setting up your shelves the way you've always wanted them. Labeling your shelves, holding people accountable those products go there. So that when I walk into my walk-in freezer and I've got my count sheets and I look up in the first position on the shelf and on my page, it says McCain's Potato Wedges, 30-pound case with a 30-pound case price. That way I count it that way and I value it that way. When I go into my reach-in freezer, I open up the door, and in the 12th position, McCain's Potato Wedges 5-pound bags with a 5-pound bag price. I can count it that way, value it that way. When I go in the line, I reach in the drawer, and in the 6th position are McCain's Potato Wedges loose by the ounce, and it's the ounce price. And next to it is a batch recipe, McCain's Potato Wedges in 6-ounce portion bags, and I can count them by the bag. This way, we can count quickly. We can train anybody to count because literally what they see on the shelves is what's on the form in the exact order. And they count it the way they see it. No longer do we have $30,000 in shredded cheese because somebody made a mistake. They counted ounces and the spreadsheet had a case price. We also get things done so quickly and more accurately than ever because we're counting everything, not only the products we buy, but our recipes, our soups, side dishes, sauces, prepped ingredients, desserts, anything we manufacture in our place. Now let's go into Smart Systems Pro and let me show you what we do here. First thing I want to do is I want to make sure we understand that when we set up shelf-to-sheet inventory, we've got to set up our inventory locations. Now, one of the things I'm going to do is go to Food Systems, go to Inventory Items. I'm going to click into this inventory in the tent that I created just for this video. And you'll see I've got a walk-in cooler followed by a reach-in cooler, by a line cooler, prep, and so on. Where does that start? Well, no, you can add them or move them around at any point in time by going as a site administrator, going into Restaurant Setup and going to Storage Setup. And by clicking on the plus symbol here, I can type in a location, new location. I can make it active or inactive, and I can also use subcategories and subcategory numbers like bin and bin numbers. That's something we're going to do in the future, a future tip, but right now what I want to focus on is knowing you can add them, and if you want to change the count sheet, the order you want them in, notice I'm just drag and dropping that walk-in cooler into the position that I want it to be. So in this case, walk-in cooler would be the first area I want on my count sheets. Now I'm going to go to my food systems. I'm going to go to inventory items. I'm going to click on this 10th inventory, which is just for this demo. It's not at the end of the period. It's just in the middle, something I can screw around with for fun. Well, here it is, walk-in cooler, reach-in cooler, in the order I appear. Now I come in here, and if I want to rearrange or arrange any items when they've been assigned to a location, do know that, notice here this, on the left-hand side, this rectangle with dots. Well, if I click on that and drag it down to the third position, notice the au gratin potatoes have moved, and it re-indexes from 1 to now third position. If I want to move it back, I simply drag and drop it into the first position. Now that makes rearranging or arranging shelf to sheet extremely quick, easy. But what if you have a lot of products? For instance, I'm going to scroll down rapidly to the bottom of this inventory and notice on line 293, I've got alligator fillets. What if I wanted those to be in the third position? Well, watch this. I'm going to click on the number 293. I'm going to type in the number 3. Click off of it, and you'll notice in the middle up almost to the top, I'm highlighting where it says Resort Location Index. That button just appeared because it says, hey man, you need to resort. So I click on that, and magically, that product, watch me scroll rapidly as I can to the top here, you'll notice alligator fillets are now in the third position. The count stayed the same, so the next time I take an inventory, it's there. What if I wanted to move these to the freezer on the fly? I'm literally in there going, I've got too much alligator. It was a special. I don't normally use it. I want to save it, so I'm going to move it to the freezer. So all I'm going to do is double click on alligator fillet, and you're going to see all the inventory locations. So now I'm going to pop open the freezer by clicking on the checkbox on the left-hand side. I'm going to put it in the very first position in the freezer. I'm going to inventory it the same way as a storage unit, which happens to be 1 pound. I'm going to put 25 pounds in, and now I'm going to go remove. I'm going to delete both the inventory location and the count and clear the checkbox from the walk-in cooler. Now I click Save. Now what's going to happen here? Well, notice, first of all, it goes 1, 2, 4. Well, that's not going to be helpful, right? We need to index it properly. So I can do a couple things. I can come in here and I can type in the number 4 again, well, or change it to 3, if you will, and click Resort Location. Or I could have just drag and dropped any one of these items back, down 1, up again, and it re-indexes on its own. But watch this. We went to the freezer and we moved that alligator to the first position. There it is, alligator, storage unit, 1 pound, the 25 pounds, $240. If you want fast shelf-to-sheet inventories, know that by going into the inventory itself, you can literally drag and drop, re-index with changing a number, or double-clicking and moving a product completely in and out of different locations. Hope you found this helpful, and go out there and count every week. I'm here with Whitney Mosier, one of our restaurant coaches here at therestaurantexpert.com, and I want to share with you a little of her insight of what it takes to be successful using the system, what member challenges there might be. Hey Whitney, thanks so much for being with me today.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your background so they understand where you've come from.
Sure. I began working in restaurants when I was 16. Started as a hostess cashier. worked my way up into management and managed for about a decade. The last several of those years, I was working as a corporate officer, overseeing 3 locations, working with the management teams, developing them, and really overseeing all of the day-to-day operations.
It's fun being an operations manager, getting all that stuff done, isn't it?
It is.
All the late night phone calls. You know what? Hey man, I can't balance a drawer. It's 3 a.m. What's your problem?
Right.
You miss those a lot, don't
I
you?
sure do.
So understand, she's been in your shoes. She feels your pain. What is it you do here at the Restaurant Expert?
I am a restaurant coach, a software coach. So I work with owners and managers. I help them to implement different areas of the software and implement systems within the restaurants to help them become more successful.
So basically, she's going to help you get shit done. That's just the way I put things. Now, there are some challenges. Whitney works with our members on a daily basis, whether it's a quick phone call, somebody says, how do I do something? But more importantly, you meet with our members on a weekly basis. Talk about what that weekly call looks like. You know, is it just the owner? Is it just a GM? Is it everybody? What is it you like to see on that call?
I like to see both owners and management team. I feel as though while the owners would not be actually doing the work within the software, that they should be aware of what their management team is to be doing within the software. The calls are weekly, an hour long. During that time, we're giving instruction as far as what is to be done within the system on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, as well as assigning some bigger projects to help you kind of continue moving forward within the software.
I think one of the things that Whitney talked about is when we work with members, we talk about owners. She said, I don't necessarily want the owner to do the work. Now look, if you're a small shop and you're the primary management team, you're going to be doing this. But the whole idea here we're at the restaurantexpert.com is we want to fire you, the owner. We want to put managers in place to do the work, meaning the data entry part. We want you as the owner or general manager to analyze the data and really increase your bottom line, simplify your lives, have managers know what their jobs are, how to do it, how well it should be done, by when. Now, I'm going to tell you, one of the things I talk about is I suck, I create work. As soon as you join the restaurantexpert.com, there's a lot to do. And how long do we generally say it takes? If somebody's motivated and meets with you weekly, what's the shortest period is really realistic for them to implement everything?
Realistically, about 6 months is what it would take to really get all of the areas of the software utilized. And again, that's if you're very consistent with the work that is being given. It is an adjustment, and so the sooner that everyone can get on board with what needs to be done daily, and then the bigger projects such as the shelf-to-sheet inventory, recipe costing cards, things like that you guys can be working on within your restaurants outside of those hour-long calls.
Now, if I were to say, we say it takes 6 months to a year, as a percentage of members you work with, how many are motivated and make every call and do what you ask and actually get implemented in 6 months? 50%, 20%, 10%? Where do you think that it falls?
My experience, probably about 20% is what I would guess on that. I think that a lot of times it's just a slow start, really accepting the amount of work that's being given.
But you can get it done in 6, right?
You can, yes.
So I want everybody to understand, when she says the 10, 20% that get done in 6 months, it's because you're changing company culture. And Whitney's going to share with you a little bit about that. The other part is it's a lot of work. With that said, as soon as they start implementing, like from the first month, they start to see savings to their bottom line, don't they?
Correct.
I mean, you start to see changes in your bottom line, so don't get hung up that this maybe take a year to put all this in place. Think about what you've been doing now. Is it getting you the results you want? Well, keep doing that. You get nothing. Change is difficult. Getting people to do new things. So now share with me your biggest challenge when we don't get them to get it done in 6 months. Mm-hmm. What is that? What do you find on the other side of that line? You meet with them for an hour and then you give them what to do. What happens?
Well, a lot of the times we reconvene on that weekly training call, and there are areas that within the system that have not been done. assignments or that had been given that weren't completed, and it just kind of feels like a roadblock. We can't really begin to train more within the system when those initial things that are being given aren't being done. So it is definitely a process. It builds upon itself. The more that you put in, the more that you'll be able to get out of it. So.
Oh, there's some deep, right? Right? If you do nothing, you get nothing. You put more work in, more effort, you get it done. Now, when we look at this and we say we've got to put this all together, you meet with them, they go home, you tell them what to do, you meet the next week, it's not done. Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is?
I think that after the call, after the training call, there tends to be maybe assumptions being made as far as who's going to be responsible for what. You know, as a software coach, we're advising you as to when things should be being done. Should it be done, you know, at the close of business each night, or should it be done each Monday or at the start of each week? And after those have been given, it seems as though they aren't sort of reiterated within your restaurant, within your management team. So a lot of assumptions get made as far as who's going to be doing what within the software.
So basically, what Whitney's saying is your management team doesn't work for us. We ask them to do things. We train them. We'll give you all the support you need. There's unlimited training support. Heck, once that phone call stops, they can call you, right?
Absolutely.
They can talk to any of our support people, our trainers, and get it done. So it's unlimited training support. We can't accept I didn't know. We can't accept that it's too hard if you don't make the effort. What it really comes down to is owners and general managers. You need to lead your team. You have to lead. You have to sit there and say, okay, Whitney may have shared what you need to be done, but somebody has to make sure it gets done. So that's why we talk about, hey, owners, we want you on the calls. General managers, you know, if you've got an absentee owner, I need you on the call, because we need everybody to learn, but somebody's got to make sure it gets done because they don't work for us. Now, look, we have no problem. We'll narc, right?
Yeah, we will.
Like if an owner's not making phone calls, we'll pick up the phone, we'll email and say, we've talked to your management team. They're not showing up. They're not getting shit done. I mean, bottom line, we will narc. But why do you want to put us in that position? We're not here to manage your people. We're here to help your people be more successful, right?
Yeah.
So what is it, if you would say one tip that you go through, you start the weekly calls, we know for a fact you're going to miss some, and it frustrates us. Things happen, you're in the restaurant business, but we want to get you back on track as soon as possible. What's the number one thing that you want them to understand?
Being consistent within the system. So whatever has been shown to you as far as training, you know, moving forward, as long as you don't completely stop doing what you've already been taught, then we can just keep going even if you miss a call. Understanding that it is a process, and that if you trust the process and you trust your coach, you'll eventually start to be able to read and see the numbers and what that is telling you is going on within your restaurant.
So start up, give us a call, set up your weekly meetings, make your weekly meetings, lead your team, and we will guarantee you results. You will get your life back, you will make more money, and you will have managers who are able to do what's necessary. Whitney, I want to thank you so much for taking time to be with me today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. I'm here with my good friend Darren Dennington with Service with Style. He's the founder and really an expert on customer service. He's somebody that I've seen speak for almost 15 years now. We speak all over the country together. He is literally the authority on service. And I wanted to bring him today and talk a little bit about that. But first, Darren, welcome. And if you tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, good morning, David, and thanks for having me. I truly respect you, and just thanks for having me. I'm excited for today. So, thank you. Background, just restaurants. That's all I've ever done. I guess pushing, I hate to say it anymore, but probably 36, 37 years that I've been working on restaurants in some aspect, whether opening them or bussing tables and bartending and serving and running kitchens and opening them again. So I just love the restaurant business and enjoy the training piece and the service aspect. So thanks for having me, and let's talk some service.
Fantastic. So I got to tell you, we were built for hospitality. If you're going to be in the restaurant business, you've got to love people. You've got to love hospitality. Unfortunately, we don't always hit the nail on the head. We've got young workers. We've got people who don't understand. They've lost the idea of what great hospitality is. We're now in a day and age where millennials like things quick, and they're using apps instead of having personal one-to-one touch. Now, I'm an old timer, and if I go out, I want to have a great experience. And that's really hot food hot, cold food cold, clean, safe work environment, guest employees, wow customer service, incredible product. Would you focus a little bit and talk about what is great service? What is great hospitality?
Well, David, if I can take it back just a couple steps to kind of what I'm seeing right now is step one, and I'll get to your question, trust me, but it's got to be the foundation of a management team. And that's got to be the starting point of absolutely everything. And when you get that group of people that wants to work together, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here because you and I talk about this a lot, you get that core group that then they can get a staff in line. And that staff in line means that they care and they want to be there and they're respected and they enjoy their job. Then the management team can start to break away and put some good systems in place. And when that system is the training and the accountability piece, now you got a foundation. And after that, it's typically off to the races with all kinds of different great areas that can improve your business. What I like to see is the management team put them in order of what they should be working on as a growth plan, and service is one of those. And service is a massive area that's got to be focused on today because we're making powerful decisions that we either post about you or we recommend you or we dine with you again. And that's what's on our mind every single time. We love the connection of the guest. And when we feel connected to the place, we come back for the people. So that's what I'm thinking about service right now.
Well, what are some of the things? I know my business partner, Chef Fred Langley, talks a lot about how service is really about allowing a guest to engage with another guest. When I've got to stop and say, hey, excuse me, can I get a steak knife? Can I get a soup spoon? Can I get a refill? We break that connection. And often when somebody walks in the door and they're together and they kind of flawlessly get seated and flawlessly order taken and flawlessly everything needs are anticipated and met for them instead of asking. And by the time they're finished, they walk out the door, man, that was a fantastic time. I can't wait to do that again. And when this is a great restaurant. So what are your feelings on hospitality? What are some of the things you're seeing out there?
Well, if the employee morale is there and they're enjoying what they're doing and there's good, strong leadership, then we want to have some fun. And that's where I see the staff thoroughly enjoying their job is when they connect with the guest and they're doing the same service over and over all evening long. They know what I'm anticipating. They know what I'm looking for. And it's as simple as reading the guests. They know the ones that are drinking the soda really quick or the ones that are going to need extra napkins or the ones that are having a serious conversation. And maybe I should just leave alone and allow them to talk and I'll just serve them the food. So if you can read your tables, you can pick up so many small little pieces of information, then that allows you to customize your service. And if you customize your service just a little bit, now you got me.
Well, you talked about what I think is a hot button, and that's reading tables. I think that is a talent that sometimes we can train certain things to help. Some people are a lot better than others, but what are some things that you talk about when you say read a table, whether I'm a manager, whether I'm a server on the floor? What are some tips on reading a table?
Well, you observe them as soon as they come in. And if you're observing and asking a few key questions, just a few simple things you can pick up on, maybe they're in a little bit of a rush or they were at the beach all day and they're a little tired. So I'm going to get them a lot of water and let's hydrate them. And maybe they're having that business meeting. So if you can just observe and ask a few questions, it's pretty easy to understand because you get the same type of guest all the time. You can put them in certain pockets and customize your service to what you anticipate they're looking for.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. All too often we get into some of the chain restaurants, it's so rote, it's so the same every single time that it's impersonal. So talk about service tips now. What are some of the things we can do to give great service?
Well, a few things I've been focused on is the little things. Simple tip for you: if you're having a shift meeting, which is good practice for team communication, I start off every shift meeting with a simple service tip. Hey guys, we're going to focus on smiles today. So every time you see a guest and you're walking past them, give them a nice little smile. Maybe the next day is, okay guys, it's raining. We got 3 umbrellas at the front door. If you happen to see anybody, walk them out to their car. Next day, it's going to be, any chance you get, let's hold the door open for a guest. So it's little tiny service tips over and over and over again. My favorite one is probably what I consider 15 seconds. 15 seconds can really go a long way. And if you think about this for your servers and your bartenders and whoever's greeting the guest, if the first 15 seconds can have nothing to do about the restaurant and you can focus that time on connecting with the guest, that's what you're trying to do. 3 simple questions can start a conversation. Hey, David, I really like the logo. I've seen that before on your shirt. Or, ma'am, that's a beautiful purse. So where have you guys been today? And if I can get you to smile, now I got you, because that smile says that I trust you. So 15 seconds goes a long way. And the last one that I'm really focused on is keywords. That we identify 4 or 5 simple keywords throughout the restaurant when other people need some help. And we use the door. That means that the 2 hostesses just got a little buried and they need a little help. Running, pre-bussing, drinks. And when somebody says running, that means every person for the next minute or 2 is passing that word around to all the other staff. And if I've got time, I'm going to jump back and help run some food. So a few keywords can really help on the communication struggles that we have in restaurants.
I know for a fact you and I could talk for hours about service. In fact, probably fill a full day just chit-chatting about all the different things, because it is not simple. I mean, it's simple in execution, but it takes a lot of training. And that's where we fall down as an industry. Here's one thing that I want people to know. I've known Darren, again, for almost 15 years, and he's one of the few people that will go out there and actually do trainings in your restaurant with your team, all-day trainings. Darren, share with everybody that's listening or watching right now, literally, what is it? What's a full-day training like? What do you do?
Well, David, I think that that's where you and I speak the same language a lot. We have gotten to know each other very well. And I think because we have the same type of philosophies, and we understand what restaurants need. And I can tell you that when David calls and needs a favor to record me on a Saturday morning, I'm going to help him out, because I truly respect him as a person and what the restaurantexpert.com is doing. And no word of lie, I'm sitting here on a Saturday morning. I've got my new checklist for a restaurant that I just locked back into, and I'm working through the checklist of everything I need to do. And a major piece of that is a full service training manual. And you can see that there's no logo on the top because I don't have one yet, but I already have my customized full service training from the restaurantexpert.com because I'm already a member of SSP. This stuff is truly important. So when you start off on the base and you got the right tools to hold your team accountable and train them, well, then Service with Style can come in and put you through a fun training course. And we get very interactive with your servers and your bartenders and your cooks and your hosts. And we train on teamwork, and we talk about morale, specific position training. And as you can tell, I'm very passionate about it, but David has the fantastic materials. And we come in with the live training to your staff and to your management. We're talking about leadership and where the company's going. So there's a big piece of it that we love to help restaurants with. We try every day.
I know there's certain times you're on the road doing these trainings 1-2 times a month, on top of speaking all over the country where you and I speak at the same shows, on top of consulting. And again, you're nuts because you're back in the restaurant business. With all that said, what are some of the success stories you found that you've gone in, done a training, and what have you found anecdotally, or even if you got dead numbers on, what are the improvements some restaurant could expect to find?
Well, it's a matter of pulling the group of people together, identifying what your priorities are, setting the focus for that group. And we go through every single aspect of what you're trying to do and put this little restaurant through a retreat. And what comes out of it is an increased morale and some good smart systems for service and a focus like no other. So the results, they vary. I know, David, you're the guy that can find, what do you call it, $10,000 by the time you hit the back door.
That's right.
And I've watched you do it. And it's a powerful tool. So I never quite know where that return on investment is going to come, but it always absolutely does. And typically we do follow-up trainings, and the secret shopping program then gets to a actionable step and a scorecard to see what's going on. So
let me stop you right there, because I
sorry.
want to make sure we talk about this. I don't want that to be a blow by. So Service with Style started as a secret shopping company. It does all these other things. And in fact, that's the core of what you do, and extremely well. In fact, my business partner was using you for many years in his own restaurants before ever coming into the restaurantexpert.com. And he has outright said it is the best shopping report out there, period, bar none. And he's used plenty. So what is it? What is secret shopping, and why is it so important?
Well, I think it's fairly easy to watch your staff from a good management team can get a good comprehension of what the team is doing. But the missing link is usually how they're interacting and genuinely taking care of the guest. So we come in and give a perspective that just isn't found anywhere else. What we've prided ourselves on is a training program for our shoppers that they understand what to look for. And when you get a secret shopping report, sure, you get that score right away, 87%. And that's a good gauge to see where you're going and what type of experience I had. But when you dive deep into the reports, and you can sit there with your management team or an individual employee and say, this is fantastic, this is great, let's keep doing this. And maybe you weren't quite aware, but here's a few policies and procedures maybe we need to adapt or follow a little deeper because our staff just isn't paying attention. And then we're going to identify, unfortunately, a few things that just shouldn't be taking place. It's a perspective that the management and other employees just can't see. And when we sit there at a table or at a bar, there's a lot of great opportunities that we highlight. And when you take that shopping report back to your management team because you got a good foundation and you review it through a manager meeting, actionable steps come from it that you implement to get better and better.
Yeah, I think secret shopping, I want everybody to understand, you've got to be shopped minimum once a month. And it's got to be random, and it's not, unless you're looking for theft or looking for a specific thing or a specific manager, what they're doing, not doing. You want it just to happen. You want it to come in, I think, so that you get a real perspective of what you're really providing. Because often, we have a love-hate relationship with Yelp out there. Let's use Yelp. As an operator, oh my gosh, I'm getting these people leaving reviews. Everybody's a restaurant critic now. Oh, they're not my customer. And we excuse away this terrible Yelp review. Well, the truth of the matter is, where there's smoke, there's fire. And what that means is there's something you're doing that is driving customers away. And you think, man, I got great service. I don't need this secret shopping thing. We're awesome. These are their lies out on Yelp. Well, as a traveler, I love Yelp because that's how I make a dining decision in a place I've never been. And so it does matter. And so what happens is, you often have that one employee that you're afraid of firing because you'd be short-staffed. There's not a restaurant not short-staffed right now. And all of a sudden you're like, well, what am I going to do? I'll just keep them on the team. And it's that one server, that one cook, that one somebody that's tearing your business apart because you're afraid of being short-staffed. And now with secret shopping, you get a true perspective of what's going on in your business. And if it's great, fantastic. It's still a training tool for other people that might need to learn those skill sets. If you're doing poorly, it's an opportunity to train and know exactly what you've got to change. Am I missing anything there, Darren?
That sounds exactly what we focus on every day. Absolutely. It's you said it very well. Perfect.
So if you were to sit there and say, if you were to wrap this up, what is the number one thing you think that people should be paying attention to on service? How important is training? And why do you think, in closing, what secret shopping, why you can't live without it?
Well, I think the crucial piece to be focused on is that first 15 seconds. We make such a decision on what type of service we're going to receive early on. So from the time I close the car door until I leave, I get 2.5 minutes before I've made a decision on what I'm going to receive. So focus on that early time. The training piece, David, it's a complement to what you're doing. I've seen the power of the restaurantexpert.com and Smart Systems Pro. And this is just a simple little add-on on how we take them to the next level. And if you want to get in touch with us, it's servicewithstyle.com. Nice and easy. All the information is right there. Servicewithstyle.com.
And just in final, secret shopping, what's entailed there? Is it really expensive? I don't think so, but
no, typically it's about $75 a visit, depending on if you're a typical family style restaurant or a bar observation. And quick service, little less expensive, and hotels and larger dining a little bit more. But it's a once a month program is perfect. So you anticipate getting that report and you're looking for it, and then it's not too much information that you can't act on. So you don't want to do shopping once a quarter. It's just too much unless you're a $6 or $7 million place. It's too much information. So keep it to once a month. It's nice and simple, and it's an add-on program.
I think you've said once a week, not once a quarter, right?
Correct. Yes.
I just want to make sure. I'm like, once a quarter, and we went backwards. That's fine. Yeah. With that said, I've got people who are going to be watching this and listening to this that are worldwide. I've got members that are all over the world. You're worldwide, aren't you? I mean, it's not
absolutely
specific to a small area.
Correct. Absolutely. No, we're national, all through Canada, all through the Caribbean. And anytime I can take care of a restaurantexpert.com member, I've offered this in the past. And David, if you like, they call me, give me your name, and they get a free shop. Nice and simple. We just try it out. So I think you guys are doing a great job, and something we'd like to give back to your members. So call me anytime and get a free shop.
That's awesome. I really appreciate that very much, Darren. Thanks for taking the time to speak with me on a Saturday. People don't know that, but you and I are here. We've got stuff to do, man. Thanks so much. We look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for taking the time to watch our first episode of this new video magazine, the Smart Systems Insider version 2.0. This is put out with all the love and care I can muster to help you, the independent operator, make more money, get your life back, have a team know what their job is. Now, in this episode, we covered a lot. We had interviews with several people. I taught tips, but what are some of those takeaways that I want you to remember? I think the number one takeaway I want you to remember came from both our software and restaurant coach, Whitney Mosier, internally here at therestaurantexpert.com, as well as one of our elite members, our interview with Justin Erickson, one of the partners at Pork and a Fork Barbecue here in Phoenix, Arizona, how they both talked about trusting the process. Trust the process. Do what we ask you to do. And as Justin and he and his partner Wes did, you can see your profitability go from almost non-existent to explode. From being a mom and pop operator to potentially a multi-unit operator like the two of them. Trust the process. I taught you how important calculating your food costs is in the step-by-step process. I gave you 4 calculations I can guarantee put more money in your bank account, but more importantly, we talked about the importance of shelf-to-sheet inventory, counting everything on the shelves in the order it appears, more accurately, faster than ever, that you can have your food cost calculation just like that every single week in under an hour from start to finish. I then showed you a software tip in Smart Systems Pro, how we set up shelf-to-sheet inventory easily, quickly, and how you can maintain it so you can continue to get great numbers. And last but not least, a good friend of mine, Darren Dennington, the founder of Service with Style, a restaurant hospitality secret shopping service and coaching service, told you the ins and outs of great hospitality and how important that first 15 seconds is, that first impression, connecting with that guest and creating a bond. I hope that you enjoyed this first episode and understand that this will be monthly, not only for our existing members, but future members just like you. So do me a favor in the comments below. Tell me what you liked about this episode, what you'd like to see improved. Hey, tell us what you'd like to see in the future, even if it's somebody, an expert that you think we should be interviewing to share with the world. Do know that this will be coming out on a monthly basis. So do me a favor and subscribe now to this YouTube channel. And not only will you get notified when this comes out, but we have a weekly tip to help you operate your business. Sometimes we have YouTube live events that we put out, but more importantly, again, you'll be notified on a routine basis every single month that the next episode of the Smart Systems Insider version 2.0 will be ready for you to watch. Thanks, everybody. I look forward to talking to you again and seeing you very soon.